Another episode here in your 20s podcast. Shout out Go Coast Cafe. Shout out Studio 424. We're here with one of the upcoming artists right here in Chicago, Morgan. I'm having the privilege to sit here with her. We've been chopping it up for a couple minutes. I was actually late because of traffic. Chicago for you, still the best city here in the world. So we're going to get right into it. Morgan, so we got connected because of AJ.
Yeah, and shout out AJ.
Shout out Music to My Ear blogs. And I saw some of your Instagram posts. It's intriguing too, like mostly just because of how your social set up. So it's very eye-catching. Like that's the first thing I saw. Like I'm assuming you were an artist. You're an artist, of course. But before you started making music, did you do anything beforehand, before music, like art, drawing?
I can't draw for shit.
Never mind. I take that back.
But like I grew up just being like large, imaginative, passionate consumer of art. I love movies. I love music. I love digital art. I love paintings. Anytime I'm intrigued by art, I would just always make a note of it. And I knew that I wanted to do music from a very young age. And I knew that if I were to do music, then I needed it to be just as visually appealing as it is, appealing to the auditory senses. You know what I mean? So coming to a point in my career where I'm still really early, but people already do know me for the visuals, which I've been really lucky to work with some amazing, like visionaries. Shout out Jason Kaplan, Bradley King, Eddie Supa, for real. Like those guys really, really helped me in terms of kind of crafting like how I really wanted to look on camera. And just anything that I grew up watching, I take inspiration from that. So okay, so you brought up a lot of good points where I think I've never asked an artist. So when you're shooting these videos, obviously social media plays a big role to marketing you and to try to get you viral right out there. But visuals is very important, right? Correct? Like Cole Bennett, the way he does is the way he blew up. So when you're going to these directors, how do you pitch it to them, or do you let them pitch it to you and then you just give them the green light to do it? It honestly depends. I actually had the pleasure of working with Baka from Dome Productions, and she's a creative director, and she actually helped me craft 2 of the videos that we worked on, which are Routine and Permanent Damage. And it was actually her idea to do a Bonnie and Clyde theme, which was perfect because I also, I grew up doing theater, so I've got an acting background as well. And so anytime I've got an opportunity to really play a character, that was something that I wanted to step into it, but I struggled performing on camera for a really long time. So doing something different, doing something unique was always the goal. But usually because my songs already have a lot of depth to the stories, it's fairly easy for me to come up with a concept, like with Completely Clueless when we did like the 3 different me's and the mirrors. Like that was something that I envisioned right away, like when we were finishing up the song and I knew I wanted a video to it. So I'm always thinking about a unique story that goes with the video. And just because again, like I grew up loving movies and I grew up acting on stage, anytime I can really make the performance give the song a new meaning, then that's what I'm going for.
Okay. Yeah. So like usually when you do YouTube, you make the thumbnail before you start scripting your video. That's what I learned from Mr. Beast and all these other like gurus or whatever, right? So with music, before you make the music video, obviously you have to write it out, but how does that process work? Like, okay, you just finish your music, you wrote it down. How do you plan it out? How you want it to be shot in video?
That involves a lot of conversations between me and the director and the team that's involved. We think about what scenes we want present, whether we want to be having me perform to the camera or whether or not it's just strictly something that's acted out. There's a lot of different themes that go into the video that we try to tie together. Like we're shooting one that deals with the super opposite of heaven and hell, and so we're dealing with anything that would have the imagery tied to heaven and hell. And there's a lot of different concepts, but we go over who are some possible characters that could be involved, What are some symbols that we can include? What are the outfits going to be? You got to have like, typically like, anywhere between like 2 to 4 outfits in a video.
Okay.
At least for me. Just to keep it interesting, unless it's like a one shot kind of deal.
Okay.
And two, just to kind of like put the character in different worlds and have them all tie together, because there's layers to most of my songs.
Okay.
And so accommodating for all those layers means like, having characters that accommodate for those layers.
So, dude, every time I see a music video, they get very creative. Like, I'm like, why aren't you in a fucking pool with like empty water bottles and then like there's a champagne bottle and then you're upside down? Like, I'm like, what the hell does that even make sense? It's engaging. But I think one of the people that I really started getting in tune with, like paying attention, was Juice WRLD.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to his lyrics and then I saw his visuals. Crazy. Like, actually, I think, I don't know, because I was high, but I was like looking at it and I was just like, oh man, like this is actually cool. So that's why I asked you, because I think I've never asked an artist about that.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely adds pizzazz and confidence to our expression and to the song and to the song's expression as well. So anytime you can use a video to give the song a deeper meaning, whether it's serious or funny, like that's the beauty of it.
That's dope. Okay, so like you're pretty much my age. You're 25. I'm 24. So when you were in high school, I'm assuming you already knew you wanted to be a music artist, right? Because you did some acting in the background. Was there any doubt of you not becoming a musician during high school or in the college process? I don't know if you did go.
Yeah. So I actually wanted to be a comedian. I wanted to be a comedic actress. I went to Columbia College here in Chicago, and I actually have a bachelor's degree in comedy writing and performance because I wanted to be on SNL. That was like my big thing.
Okay. All right, Pete Davidson. All right.
But the doubt in music, I think, was just because with music, you never really know whether something is you never know when the audience is going to get it. And I knew that I would always have music in my back pocket. So when I was performing at an early age, I got a high from making people laugh through the roles that I played. And so I was like, okay, like I want to create this feeling on stage. And then when I started diving deeper into it, I was like, I don't like the fact that I have to solicit just one response.
Okay.
And I felt that with music, I could not only be a more well-rounded performer, I could be funny sometimes, I could be serious sometimes, but I also felt that through music, I could be more authentic. So around my sophomore year at college, I was like, fuck it, I'm going to start writing music again and really taking this seriously. And I'm really glad I stuck with it.
Well, I like that. That caught my attention right now. You do a bit of everything. Like you said, you have some comedy background. You went to college. You write and you have acting. That puts you in a position where you can do different things. Let's just say a director's like, do this, you can do it. You don't have to be taught.
Yeah.
Just like when I started doing content, I can go to the South Side. I can speak Spanish. I can do different kind of creators. But, if they put me in a position, I feel comfortable and confident I could do it. And I like how you're in the position where you're just like, if someone just told you, go on the spot, do this directing, make this music video, I feel like you're confident. You just have that aura of like, I can do it regardless of where they put me in. And that's like this, I don't know, maybe that's just like what I'm feeling, but that's cool. So you took it serious and you said sophomore year, right? Mm-hmm. When did you start actually making this network, these collaborations to like elevate your career?
Man, the cool thing about getting into the music scene while still being a college student is that on the music side, Columbia was really active in hosting open mics. They had recording studios like on their own campus too. So it was really easy to get involved and meet people. It was called, because they have like a Biggest Mouth like singing competition that they do at the Metro, but then they have little open mics called just Big Mouth. And so I remember I went there, it was just me and my guitar, and everyone was like, holy shit, who is this? And so that was when I was like, all right, I've got something that I need to stick with. And so through that performance alone, I was just making connections. If somebody invited me to a session, I was there.
Okay.
Even people that I went to high school with, I found out were living in Chicago and making music. So I would pull up to their sessions and just meet people through there. And if there was a performance, if there was an open mic, I was there. Like people don't realize that so much of the work that goes into this is just showing up and meeting people. And if you're good at something, then introduce yourself and find out how you can help somebody with your talent. And I still do that. And everybody, even when they're successful, they still do that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
said.
what's the phrase, like 90% of life is just showing up?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. Showed up.
The way to beat fear is to face it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, people just feel comfortable. They'll want to show their face. If you can't fail if you try. 100% try. You just can't fail. Your plan B should be your plan A. Right. Mm-hmm. That's really a law of attraction, pretty much.
Yeah. I don't got a fucking plan B. This is my calling.
This is it.
I'm gonna stick to it.
I like that. I like that. So okay. So you've only been doing this, taking it seriously for 3 years, which is phenomenal, right? Like, because sophomore year of college, 21, 22, you're 25.
No, 2018 was when I started. I'm about to be 26.
Oh,
I was
okay.
I was 19. I was 19 when I started taking this seriously. So So it'll be about like 5-6 years that I've been really, really taking this seriously.
Okay. So like 5 to 6 years. So when did you start actually seeing like some traction, some success? You're like, all right, this is paying off, because it might take 1, 2, 3, or even 5 years till you actually get that big break.
Yeah, I mean, like, I started. It wasn't really just one moment, and I'm nowhere near in my career where I want to be yet. But I will say that when I really started like dropping singles and dropping projects, the compliments that I got, I just knew were very significant. Like, it was the way that people would be like, "Oh, you're different." Like, "Oh no, like, you have something that, the rest of Chicago doesn't have." And I've heard that, and I'm not even saying that from my ego. I've been told that so many times in my career. And so I aimed to be different. I aimed to be my own sound. I think it was maybe when my first album, Midas, dropped, and I just started getting nods from curators on like the big DSPs. Like, I started getting playlisted and getting to open up for bigger artists. And honestly, I think it was when I started booking my own shows that I knew I had some traction, because people not only wanted me on their lineup, but they were honored to have me book them on venues like Sub T and Reggie's. And so that's when I knew that I actually had some traction that was productive, because I'm like, okay, cool, like, I can get views, but shit, I'm selling tickets now. People, pay me for features and background vocals and to write songs for them.
Right.
So that's when I knew, like, when I could see that my features were paying my electric bill and my internet bill, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, people want my services. They want my voice, and they're willing to pay for my voice to be on their shit. That's when I knew, I'm like, okay, no, I'm good at this.
That's dope. So how do you know how to charge for a feature, right? Like, let's just say, for example, I'm going to go up there, ask for a feature. How do you know? Are you charging me based off our friendship, or are you charging me actually for your experience? Like, like every feature you do, you're going to upcharge the person, right?
Yeah. It's definitely based off experience. Like, again, like look, I've got a writing degree, so like I've been writing.
Right.
I've been writing for a long time. I charge mainly based on two things: experience and the time it's gonna take me. Like, right now, I'm charging $500 to write a full song for you that I'm not singing. Why? Because I have to write the damn song.
Hell yeah.
I have to, I work a job already. I work 2 jobs, actually. Okay. You're telling me that I have to take time out of my day, out of my free time? I could be watching anime. I could be making dinner. But I'm writing a song for you? Cool.
Right.
$500, because the time that it's going to take me to do that, and it's not, it doesn't take a day. If I'm writing for somebody else, it rarely takes me a day. It may take me a week. It may take me a month just to really, really perfect it. And depending on, the circumstances of life, it could take longer. And so having, and I'm always asking for a half deposit up front, and then,
Smart. Just in case if they do back out.
Yeah, and then when I give you the song that you want, then you pay the back half. But yeah, it's just it can take a lot of time to craft something for somebody else. So because I'm taking time out of my day when I could be working a third job, or I could be getting extra hours in my other job, but
Correct.
Instead I'm writing a feature for you, or I'm writing a whole song for you, you gotta pay. You know what I mean?
That's fair. That's a fair point. So like for someone new though, like someone trying to go into that, if I were to tell you, hey Morgan, I need a song written, do I just pitch you the ideas, or do I have to let you know like what am I looking for, like sadness, broken dreams, broken hearts, you know what I mean, like happy vibe, like how does that work?
Yeah, you got to come with an idea of what you want, like like for example, if you don't even have like the instrumentation, I'm gonna charge you way more, because then I gotta come up with the chords, then I gotta come up. But people are like, okay, I want an R&B song about getting intimate with somebody, and it's like summery, you know what I mean? I'm like, okay, cool, that gives me a lot of context to work with. Or if people want like a heartbreak bluesy song, like you got to come at me with something. You can't just say, hey, can you write me a song? I'm like, what do you want? You know what I mean? Like,
come on, man.
Yeah.
There's so many questions. I'm just like, what if they tell you like, no, redo it? Do you charge them extra, or do you give them like 3 trials?
No, if they, like I said, like they don't pay the rest of what they owe, like until I give them something back that they want. And and obviously, like, for so many reasons, somebody could be like, hey, tweak this line, or hey, like, instead of, going down on these notes, can you go up? I'm like, okay, cool. Like, if it's quick fixes like that, then like I'm absolutely not going to charge them for that. Even if it's like, hey, I want a few of these lines rewritten, fine, I can write a couple of lines in, a few minutes.
Interesting.
Just for like a big thing like that too, like, artists are allowed to be they're allowed to be picky to a certain extent, like it's their song, so I respect that. I'm an artist myself.
Right.
I perform, I have to approve of the things that I perform, and I have to feel authentic in them, so I got to make a product feel authentic to somebody else.
They're paying you for the service, so you're just, end of the day, you're getting paid. You're not there to judge.
Yeah, and I've ran into some I don't even want to say situations. It's just some bitches on Twitter who like think that, like, because the criticism sometimes can run along the lines of like, oh, like you should never, like, it's not about the money. And I'm like, it is, but it isn't. Like, my perspective is that in order to feel completely fulfilled as an artist and as a musician, you need to be drawing inspiration from things for free. I'm not going to charge myself to write a song. Like,
of course.
My girl is my engineer, producer, and co-writer. So
seriously?
Like, yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Yo, let's go.
So we, I don't.
It's a real one. Sheesh.
I don't pay for studio time ever. But in so many scenarios and situations, there needs to be a space to create freely. But if I'm also going to be taking the time out of my day to make something for somebody else or collab with somebody else, cool. Like, but also I'm living paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
To be candid with you, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So you expect me
for now.
Yeah, for now. But that's the thing, is like I'm working as a musician so that I don't have to be living paycheck to paycheck. And most people I know who are really doing this and working hard at it are working as an artist because they want to live off of their music. If you want to live off of your music, you have to get paid for your work. I'm sorry that somebody else is charging you and reminding you of that. Sorry it had to be me, but
my time, keeping it real now.
Yeah, my time is not free. And if you're a homie, like, I've known you since day one, and you've done a shit ton of songs, and we've had good times together, then like cool, like we'll work something out. But
5%, 5%.
Yeah, but if you're a random,
yeah,
I'm charging. Come on.
No, that's fair. That's 100% business, 100% business, and a real friend, real support is gonna pay you upfront because they know what you're worth.
I've got actual friends like in the industry that have paid me even when I said don't pay me, and then I've had like randoms who were like, you're asking for too much. I'm like, really? Because like folks that I've been working with and talking to for years will pay me no problem.
There you go.
And I'll pay them if I gotta, like if I need a feature from them, fine. Like it's business, and at the end of the day, it's a way of paying each other's bills. I'd rather pay my friend. I always say this: I'd rather pay my friends' bills than pay a big corporation.
100%.
Yeah.
You know what's one thing I don't get? This is something that I've been experiencing here. I'm not calling out names, not calling out people. So most of these people work a 9-to-5 job, have to be there on time, and going to do that for the next 40 years, right? And they're going to do it regardless, right? Because that's going to pay their bills. The moment you have an opportunity to start your dream, or you're giving this opportunity or giving a handout to begin your journey, people start to think, I can just relax back. People start not working as tough, like if they're in that corporate job. I'm like, dude, you should actually work double and be happy that you're going to do this and do it for 5 years. So for the next 40, 35, you're free.
Yeah.
Unless working 9-to-5, paycheck, or being that mid-level tier or whatever in the rat race for the next 45 years and be miserable as fuck.
Yeah.
Right. I don't get why people don't put that 5-year work when they're giving a privilege, when they're giving a handout, when they're giving an opportunity. Tune in, sharpen your skills, and do that for the next 5 years so you have the next 35 for free. That what frustrates me about this generation, where we're giving opportunity, we think we just chill back because we're giving that opportunity. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does make sense. I mean, it can come from a lot of things. It can come from fear. It can come from immaturity. Even myself, like I've definitely been in situations where I've gotten an opportunity and then thought I was fine, and then reality will hit and be like, oh, rent's due. Yeah. What are you doing? But that's the rude awakening, though, that I think pushes you to work harder. There's always a bill that's got to be paid. There's always something that's got to be done. And if, we have probably more artists and a bigger saturation of artists than we've ever seen. Like, it is very, very hard to stand out right now. So if you think that you can just, do one thing and call it a day, man, I got some bad news for you. Like there's people out there that are working way harder than you. But that can scare some people. A lot of people don't want to work hard just because they don't feel like it. And that, it comes with balance. You don't have to spend 7 days a week working, because then you're going to burn yourself out. Mm-hmm. But people struggle to find balance. It's like you can have some days where you rest and you don't make music, or you don't, make content. Right. And then you have days where you really got to crank it out. Yeah. But it's all about trial and error. But you got to have the courage to, like you said, like you got to have the courage to fail. You got to have the courage to maybe work yourself a little bit too hard and burn out. Because if you don't know what burnout's like, then you're not gonna know how to, instead of going all the way up here, go here and then go here, but then bring yourself back down here. Like it's all about balance. So talking about burnout, what do you actually do when you actually experience it? When you actually feel like you had maybe too much work, involved? Like how do you concentrate? How do you, concentrate your mind, refocus? It's just a lot of. It's just getting rid of a lot of. I'm trying to find the right word, like stimulation, like I'm addicted to my phone, but learning to put it down. Goddamn TikTok, man. See, I'm not on TikTok. I still find TikTok lame, even though I know that it's helped so many artists. I can't bring myself to it. Like X is my shit. I just said Twitter, but I'd be calling it both. Honestly, I keep a consistent workout schedule, so that's always my time to just kind of focus on my health, spending time with my girl, going on walks. I live in Humboldt Park, so they've got good, beautiful nature scenery. A lot of Puerto Ricans out there, and amazing food, amazing food, great all the food trucks that are lining up over there. And so it's a good environment. You can. You can get some food, sit in the grass, pet a few dogs, people watch, learn about the world, go out, spend time with your friends. the one solution to like burning out is literally just like relaxing your brain, and whatever brings you relaxation and comfort, whether it's talking to a friend, whether it's watching movies, whether it's drawing, whether it's just doing something that's taking your mind off of the work. Because if you're constantly focused on the work, then you're left with no life to experience. You have to live your goddamn life, because where are you going to draw inspiration from? You're just going to be, singing, writing about the same fucking shit over and over and over. Yeah.
I like that. Well, you have to pivot to different locations once you start it, but the main thing is to keep your mind, your brain focused.
Yeah.
Someone can fuck you over, you'll be okay, or hurt. Your family can fuck you over, you'll be okay, it hurts. But the moment your mind betrays you, everything tips the fuck over and you're fucked.
Yep.
So you have to keep this insane. But I like that. So I feel like you already pushed out the criticism. You've been doing this for 5 to 6 years. So, words can't hurt you. You make words. You're the next fucking Eminem. Fuck.
Look, I'm sensitive and sometimes words do hurt me, but then I remember who the fuck I am. And, I'm lucky enough to have a good support system of family and friends who love me for who I am and are going to hold me accountable and just remind me like, yo, tune out the noise. It doesn't even matter. And because look, like the bigger I get, those words are only going to get louder. But at the end of the day, it's all just noise.
Well, if you're getting hate, you're doing something right.
Exactly.
You're doing something right.
Exactly.
They can't be you. But okay, let's transition to performance. So when you're going to do these performance, how do you prepare yourself mentally? Like, oh shoot, like there's gonna be 500 people out here, 200 people. How do you prepare yourself, to give them a good show?
Just getting your mind into a responsible place. Like I used to get high or get drunk before going on stage all the time, just because I thought it was like the cool thing to do. And then I realized, oh, like you're panicking. Oh, your voice is scratchy. Oh, you're fucking up the words. Oh, you're screaming all your notes. You're not actually like going falsetto when you need to go to falsetto. You don't have like, setting the tone for a responsible mindset allows me to focus on vocal control. It allows me to focus on crowd engagement. Like when to close my eyes, when to look at the audience. Like stage presence is everything to me.
Okay. I'm sorry to interrupt,
go ahead.
It's in my head right now. Do you have any plans? Of course you do, but how does the process to start performing at Summer Smash and Lollapalooza?
Well, I haven't performed any of those festivals yet, but when I do get those opportunities, it's just gonna be like any other show. Like I aim to sound my best no matter how many people are in the crowd. And like again, like I grew up with like a vocal choir like theater background, and in those settings you really don't have room for error, especially in theater. There's no auto tune on your microphone, and all the note, like the way that they sing, it's like all of the notes are just perfectly hit. It's like a boom 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 boom, like you got to be on. And so luckily with that background, it taught me how to, and the nice thing is I have perfect pitch, so I know when I'm out of key and I know when I'm in key. So luckily my brain can kind of steer me in the direction of like, oh, like you're too sharp. And I got in-ears, which is gonna help me hear myself, because one thing that I did struggle with was sometimes the sound systems like aren't the best, and so when you've got the bass amp and the drums like fucking blaring in your ears, then it makes me want to be louder on the mic so that I can hear myself. But what I forget is that I'm already mic'd.
Yeah.
So I end up just being way too overpowering. But like I'm learning to control myself and learning to control my volume.
Okay, so I'm gonna get a little bit off topic. So I listen to a lot of podcasts, and a lot of celebrities say on the come up, there's a lot of anxiety when you're leveling up, because there's a lot of people coming up to you. There's a lot of people trying to connect with you, collaborate with you. And one, you're not trying to fail, and you're just not trying to mess up. Second, you start questioning yourself because you're praying for this. You've been praying for this process, for this. And you're like, now I have it. Am I good enough to do it? Right? That's what I hear, right? What do you do with that? I don't know if you experienced that anxiety before. We're human, so everyone does at one point. How do you tell yourself, you know what? I'm gonna perform regardless how I feel. Like, how do you get in that mode? You're in demon mode. How you're like, I'm gonna fucking crush this shit.
I have never doubted myself in terms of not being good enough. I've actually had the opposite issue, which is thinking that I'm too good for everybody.
I like that mindset.
So my struggle wasn't, oh, I'm too nervous to perform. My struggle was, you need to set your ego aside and actually master your craft. Like, girl, get better at guitar. Girl, you gotta expand your range and like maybe put the weed down sometimes. Girl, you gotta stop claiming that you are the best artist and you're better than so and so and you're better than so and so, and fucking put your money where your mouth is. Because I always knew I was good and I always knew that I was destined for this, but there's other people out there that are working way harder than me. So I had to realize, like, you got to put in that work and you have to not just talk the talk, you got to walk the walk.
100%.
Yeah. And so the anxiety came from, I think I'm this good. Why doesn't the world think I'm this good? And it's like, well, it's just not your time yet. But you can either sit there and pout about it, or you can hone in on your skills, be grateful that you have this gift, and go practice it. Go to this, like, you know, you have your studio is in the other bedroom. Go sit down and write some shit.
Right.
Like, quit fucking complaining that somebody else got more views than you. Cause like, you know, like views are one thing, respect is another. And if I don't respect myself and I keep comparing myself to other people, or I keep like, you know, letting my ego get ahead of myself, then that's where I'm gonna fuck up. And so that anxiety has come down through being a little bit more humble, but also taking myself more seriously in a sense of like, you know, this is what I want. I want to work with the best artists in the world and the best venues in the world. This is what I want. And when you get it, you're not going to cave, because this is what you were meant to do. Just be kind. Don't be an asshole unless the person deserves, you know, I was going to say assholery, like tomfoolery. I don't think that's the word, but like, you know what I mean?
We'll make it a trend. Fuck it.
Assholery.
Assholery.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I hope the dictionary doesn't ever put that in its next books. I'm sorry, guys.
Assholery, Morgan's face right next to it. Not because you're an assholery, but just she started the trend, you know. But respect, that's very important in the space, in any career, any space you're in. Yeah. How do you know for someone not to cross that boundary, right? Because some people come off really, really nice. I know people that come off really nice, very respectful, very smart, and you think, I'm gonna take advantage of this person. Or there's other people trying to take advantage, but then they snap the fuck out. We're like, oh shit, like this person holds it down. Like this, you know, he shows that persona. He is a good person, but the moment you know, cross that line, he's not gonna let you fucking cross it. Like, how do you let someone, you know, how do you get that respect? How do you gain that respect? Because I'm pretty sure, you know, there's people that try to cross that line with you because either you're too young, it could be a gender thing, it could be maybe you're just not experienced enough. How do you tell people like, yo, I'll get there, but don't cross this line with me?
Boundaries, honesty, being really upfront about where you stand, what makes you comfortable, what makes you not comfortable, and just realizing what's worth your time and what isn't. Because a lot of the reasons that artists get taken advantage of is because they think that they're put in a position that is worth the discomfort that they're gonna go through, and that's just not it. Like, you don't deserve to be preyed upon. You don't deserve to get all of your money taken from you and then be fucking like that's just the music industry as we know it and have seen it in the past has just become a nasty cesspool of people, you know, taking advantage of others. And that's just because, you know, money and power and greed kind of does that to people. But when you put self-respect and honesty and kindness and clarity like at the forefront, then that's just how good business gets done. And honest business is good business. And that's one of the best lessons that I've really learned in my career thus far. And so I'm trying to carry that forward. But again, just like realizing what's worth your time and what's not. And you don't deserve to, like, you know, there's a difference between being uncomfortable when you're, you know, rehearsing for hours for a really big show versus like being in a room with somebody that's making you uncomfortable. Like, you got to walk away for your own sake, because it's not worth it. And if you really love music and you really love what you do, you're always going to find a way to make it. Music is always going to be with you, you know?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's touching. No, that's actually motivating. I like that. I know you said your girl, she's your like music producer, engineer, and everything. If you ever need a music engineer, right behind me, we have the famous Coop and Shaka. Shout them out, boys. Very experienced guys. But if you ever want to try them out, they're not here right now, but I actually wanted to do a skit. I don't know if we can do it today. Probably not. If like you ever see the social media On the Radar?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I kind of wanted to do that with you, and then we have this other artist after you too as well. I don't know, but we might not have time today. But for some reason, I feel like your freestyle goes crazy. I don't know why.
It depends on the beat. If you give me something that's got like low down dirty blues, like let's go. If it's something more on like the drill side, I'm like all right, like I'll do something that's more melodic. But like, give me a guitar, like I'll freestyle for days.
Fuck. I'm only saying that because I saw anything can happen. I'm like, damn, all right.
Anything can happen.
Bet. I'm like, fuck, man.
Anything can happen.
But Morgan, okay, like I said, I did want to keep this short and simple. One last question. Who are one of the big collaborations you've had with or have had the pleasure to work with?
Big collaborations. So I'm gonna be real. There's a song that so there's two songs technically that I've done, but there's an artist here named Galaxy Francis, and he's one of my favorite artists here and just one of my favorite artists period. But I've got one song on his album, but then we did another song that's a duet, and it's just one of my favorite things that we've ever done. And it's one of my favorite things that we've ever done because like you just listen to this song and you know it's a hit, and you know it comes from the soul. And I just knew that when that song got made, I was like, people are really gonna feel this one. Yeah,
It's a fucking hit.
Yes.
Morgan, thank you so much for hopping on. Where can the people find you? Shout out your socials, YouTube, SoundCloud, whatever you do on, social media.
If you like that Morgan Gold music, follow me at Morgan Gold Music. I'm headlining Shuba's May 25th. Please come. It'll be fun. Geogenesis, Thorn, and 16th are going to be there. At Morgan Gold Music, I be goofing off. I be making music. I'm not sponsored by them yet, but I be promoting Malort like crazy. Best liquor in Chicago. Come on now. And come follow me. Stay in tune with me. If you're not a fan of Morgan Gold, then become one.
So, boys, if you're doing streamer music, we're going to beat you with a fucking stick. I'm kidding. We're not going to do that. But go...
I'm not.
Oh, maybe. But go check us out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Instagram. You already know where to check it out. Like, again, shout out Go Coke Cafe. Shout out Studio 424. That's where we're shooting it here. Music to My Ears blog.